So recently I was doing a rewatch of Ahsoka Season 1, and in Episode 7, Dreams and Madness, the penultimate episode of the first season, it dawned on me that the scene where Hera is court-martialed is heavily inspired by a similar scene from Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. This time rewatching the show, it just seemed a bit too familiar. We've often talked about certain aspects of recent canon inspired by the original Thrawn trilogy, Tantis, Thrawn himself, elements of Rebels which are being continued in the Mandoverse, and how much Jon and Dave are going to draw from it. Well, this scene directly parallels one from the book, which I've not seen anyone else really talk about. And just a disclaimer, because sometimes people see a title and they take things out of context, I'm a fan of both Zahn's work and Filoni's work. This isn't some accusation, and I'm definitely not trying to put a negative spin on it, just a cool comparison that I noticed. And before we dive into it, guys, please be sure to subscribe if you've not done so, but no more jibber jabber, let's dive into it. In Ahsoka Episode 7, Hera Syndulla stands before the New Republic court, following the unauthorized mission to Seatos. Hera had to answer for her actions in front of Mon Mothma, Admiral Akbar, Senator Xiono, and a few others. Xiono is one of the more dislikable characters in the New Republic, skeptical there is any threat coming from the Imperial remnant. He doesn't even like the term, and he basically says that he thinks it's lunacy. To this extent, he is very much the Borsk failure of Star Wars canon. Failure from the Thrawn trilogy was a Bothan politician who serves the same role as Xiono, a master political opportunist, driven almost entirely by his own ambitions. He is one of the reasons for the New Republic's failures. He's always positioning himself for more power, even at the expense of others, even behind the back of Chancellor Mon Mothma, who both in legends and canon is a much more kind-hearted, reasonable leader, even if she had shortcomings on the military front. Just like Borsk failure, Xiono likes to disagree with the decisions of others, to discredit them for his own gain, self-interest over the greater good, arrogant, and one of the most dislikable characters in the show. In Episode 7, Xiono was more than willing to strip Hera of command. He discarded her claims and warnings about Baylan, Shin, as well as the return of Thrawn, which he wasn't convinced was possible. Even Carson Taver's claim that the Imperial remnants were up to something based on Moff Gideon's actions was ignored. But, thanks to the interception of C-3PO on behalf of Leia Organa, Hera's friend, Hera was acquitted of all charges. And what an awesome cameo that was. Mon Mothma, ignoring Xiono, then spoke with Hera in private and asked her genuinely, how real is the return of Thrawn? How real is this threat? Hera said they must hope for the best and prepare for the worst. This scene was a very powerful moment, and along with similar New Republic scenes from The Mandalorian's third season, was an essential part of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's world building that we're gonna see explored in The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka's second season no doubt, and other post-Return of the Jedi projects to come. But it's also worth noting, this scene was very familiar, because there is a similar moment in Heir to the Empire, and the comic adaptations of the 90s classic trilogy gives us a similar visual look too, but instead of Hera Syndulla being sanctioned, it's Han Solo, and instead of Senator Xiono, as I said, it's Borsk failure. The context is slightly different, but you're gonna start seeing the parallels when I describe it. Here's how it goes. So, it all concerns the mission to Bimisari near the start of the book. It makes up part of the larger political backdrop of the fledgling New Republic, which is struggling to establish itself after the fall of the Empire. They're trying to stabilize and gain allies. The galaxy is still fragmented, and many planets, systems, and even species in this case, are hesitant to fully commit to the New Republic due to skepticism, fear of Imperial remnants in disguise, and the effectiveness of Mon Mothma's new government. At the start of the book, there is a focus on diplomacy. Bimisari is a planet in the Outer Rim. It is the destination for a diplomatic mission led by Leia Organa, Han Solo, Chewie and Luke. The mission's goal is to secure Bimisari as an ally of the New Republic, which would be an important step in maintaining diplomatic relations in that sector of the galaxy. In the lead up to the mission, Admiral Akbar and Mon Mothma have faith in our heroes. But, as you can imagine, Borsk failure, the Xiono of legends, rebukes Han Solo in front of other New Republic officers. Not only does he not have faith in them, but accuses Han Solo of being too scoundrel-like, being reckless, undiplomatic, implying that Solo's presence would undermine the mission's success. This is emblematic of their long-standing tension. Failure represents the bureaucratic, scheming side of the New Republic, whereas Han embodies the rebellious, action-oriented approach that was characteristic of the old Rebel Alliance. Nonetheless, the mission goes ahead, but our heroes are ambushed by a group of Nogri, which is the same species as Rook, sent by Grand Admiral Thrawn. When the mission is aborted, Han and Leia return to headquarters, and Failure, just like Xiono, doesn't believe our heroes about the threat of Thrawn. In this instance, it's not Hera Syndulla, it's Han Solo being blamed. Failure doesn't believe the Nogri exist. Here's how the conversation goes. So let me get this straight, Captain Solo. You alone made the decision to cancel the mission without consulting a higher authority. Han then responds, "Look, I've already given my reasons." Akbar tries to defend Han, saying this, "Your reasons were very good and proper in my opinion. Captain Solo's duty was to alert us, and he did." Failure then responds, "Alert us to what? Whoever these grey-skinned aliens were," and he's talking about the Nogri, "there's no record of them in the old Senate. I doubt whatever they were pose a major threat." He thinks Han is lying. He's already got an anti-scoundrel prejudice to begin with. He was never going to believe him. Just like Xiono, Failure mistakenly believed Endor was the end of the Imperial regime, that there weren't any remnants out there, that the New Republic flag flying high and taking over various planetary systems was enough to fend off any naysayers. But he was wrong. Much like Hera, in this conversation Han is adamant that the New Republic needs to heed the warning and pay attention. Han screams at Failure saying this, "It was so much easier when we were just taking on the Empire. At least then we knew our enemies." At this stage in the story, they don't know about Thrawn, about the risk he poses, and how he's the one behind the Nogri. And while we've seen Nogri in Star Wars Rebels and Tales of the Empire, I think the canon version of Heir to the Empire Nogri is going to be what's in the catacombs, now that Thrawn is back in the known galaxy on Dathomir. Is he going to send zombie Night Sisters, maybe even to Mandalore, which is nearby? So like I said, my dear friends, I believe in episode 7 of Ahsoka season 1, the dynamic between Hera and Senator Xiono is very much an adaptation of the friction between Han Solo and Failure in Legends, both pairs representing clashing perspectives, and we haven't seen the last of Xiono. Both Solo and Syndulla represent military leaders with a history of direct action in combat, tactical thinking, daringness, even breaking the rules, and prioritizing the greater good over bureaucratic caution. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. Did you make this link, and what do you think of it? If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, at StarWarsMeg1 on Twitter, and the link to my Patreon is down below. But until the next one, my dear friends, may the Force be with you, always.